Greetings, everybody. Greetings to those who are joining us live on Facebook. Thank you for making time to be with us this evening. We are grateful. We don't take it lightly. Thank you for the opportunity to just share our knowledge, our expertise as vessels of virtue. We are passionate about empowering leaders, entrepreneurs, and social entrepreneurs holistically. So it is a privilege and honor to be on your walls, on Zoom platform and on YouTube, just to share our experiences with some guests that I have this evening. So I have two amazing African leaders. I have Stanley Njoku. He's a Nigerian leader. He founded Courier Hub, such a jovial, versatile young man doing amazing work in Nigeria. I'm also co-hosting Mallvine Mutize, the founder of the Vine Consultancy. It is an honor to have both of you gentlemen on the platform this evening. Would you just want to quickly greet our guests? Then we can dive in. I'll start with you, Stanley, then Mallvine will go second.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Wherever you're joining us from, my name is Stanley. You are welcome to this business masterclass. I'll be sharing some of my experiences and how far we've been able to scale some of our businesses here in Nigeria and some of the principles that have been able to be of great importance to us. Thank you, Precious, for having me in this class. Thank you very much.
It's an honor, Stanley. Thank you so much. We're hoping to learn so much from you. Mallvine, would you just want to quickly greet our guests? You are muted.
Hello, everyone. How are you today? Hope I find you well. Thank you so much, Precious, for giving me the opportunity to come and share the little knowledge that I have and the little nuggets that I have. And thank you, Stanley, for being part of this show today. I'm so honored. I'm ready and eager to learn from you. Back to you, Precious.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So I'll get right straight to it. And just start with Stanley. If you can just tell us who you are and what has been your entrepreneurial journey this far.
Okay, thank you very much. Like I said earlier, my name is Stanley Njoku. I'm a Nigerian, 35 years old. Currently the CEO and co-founder of Courier Hub Technology Solutions Limited, and also executive board member and co-founder of WorkPlus Consult Limited. These are two startups that are greatly impacting lives and businesses across the shores of Nigeria. WorkPlus Consult was a business I co-founded sometime in 2014 out of the need for us to offer exceptional and quality services to brands and business owners across Nigeria. And Courier Hub Courier Hub Technology Solutions Limited is an ecosystem that is founded on the need to connect all stakeholders across all sectors of Nigeria when it comes to parcel delivery. Typically, we are referred as the Uber of the Nigerian courier sector in such a way that our ecosystem enables people to be able to have access to their parcels right from the comfort of their home or their offices. People don't need to be on the streets or on the roads hustling to see how they can get across their parcels or documents to wherever destination they want to send it to. But by coming on our platform with the aid of our apps, they can be able to order dispatch riders that can be able to come take their parcels and deliver to various destinations. So it's an ecosystem also that is incorporating both small scale vendors that are also into parcel delivery. So it has been a very great opportunity. I have over, professionally, I have over 13 years experience in across many sectors in Nigeria. I've worked briefly with FMCG companies, capacity building, banking, and currently now I'm engaged in starting up so many tech platforms. It has been very quite challenging to scale up a business in an environment where funding and policies of government tries to hinder or bring down as many efforts of the young Africans here in Nigeria. But through the help of working with like minds and being expertise in the areas of our businesses, it has been quite rewarding and mind-blowing how far we've been able to come. Thank you very much. I think as we go, you'll get to know more about my journey so far.
Thank you, Stanley. Thank you so much. I actually have some questions for you already, but I will allow Mallvine to just take us through who he is and what has been his entrepreneurial journey thus far.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you so much, Stanley. So my name is Mallvine, like I said before. I would like to talk about my journey. So I'm the founder and the CEO of the Vine Consultancy. So the Vine Consultancy, it's all about helping people to start their businesses and live a life in their business. So we start from as little as young students who are still in school. So let's say about 5-6 years, start to teach them about business, because it's very difficult for someone to then start business when they're in their late 30s or 40s. So we like to start at a young age. I'm sure you've heard of a phrase that says, catch them young and watch them grow. So that's the one that we work with. We start at a very young age, from primary school, high school, and even until the businesses are strong and running, and we still support them in issues like capacity building, team building, in relation of how to run the day-to-day business, even as far as customer service and the growth methodologies of businesses, and you name it, anything that has to do with business. This is what we do on a day-to-day basis. And our journey, well, my journey started when I was a teenager. And I think for the past 10 years, we've been running this consultancy, helping people and consulting in terms of business, how to start, how to run it, how to grow it, how to develop it, equip it, building the teams, building the individuals in the business, and building the team at large, at an individual and at a community level, and as far as the national level. So this is what we do at the Vine Consultancy. We just empower and grow people and add value into what they have as they are running it and as they are growing who they are. So yeah, that's just us in a nutshell. And the entrepreneurial journey has been very interesting, because you get to see the different methodologies and the way people are doing it, even at an individual level to a national level, and in different cultures and in different spheres. As especially in Zimbabwe, we have had our economy skyrocketing from, almost every month. It's everything is just changing. The business setups, the atmosphere is just changing, and you need to be very, very equipped to run the business. So this is what we just basically do, and just try to be relevant in the times that we are living. Zimbabwe is a country that is hyperinflation, and currencies there. We mainly using US dollars, and our Zim dollar has no longer that value. So things are just changing and happening, but in that moment, in that zone, in the whole world where the things are just changing up and down, we just there to just remember and to keep the people updated, and for them to understand the value that they have as they run their businesses. So that's us, and that's me in a nutshell.
Thank you so much, Mallvine. Thank you so much. Quite insightful. You're doing amazing work. So I wanted just to also pose a question to both of you, because I know that entrepreneurship is a game where you are operating beyond the norm. You have tenacity, you are driven, you go against all sorts of challenges that you find yourself facing in a way that makes you stronger, that builds your character. You learn to persevere along the way. And I'm hearing lots and lots of years of experience that you guys have got. So how would you be able to propose a solution to the problems that you have presented? I think Stanley mentioned the issue of governmental policies, and I'll add also the issue of geography, that if you have seen that the idea works in such an environment and you have been on it for some years, have you also considered going beyond Nigeria? And then the issue of sustainability, is what you're doing sustainable? Because, you know, sometimes entrepreneurship is so hard, it's difficult. You can't even pay yourself sometimes. And those are stories that we hardly share. And I'll pose those same questions to you, Mallvine, to just ask about the issue of geography, the issue of the policies. What would be the proposed solutions that you can say, I'm bringing this? The issue of sustainability is what you are doing sustaining you. Can you say that you have a model that can be scaled up? So we will start with Stanley.
Basically, you know, when it comes to entrepreneurship is not what individuals jump into. In my own definition of what entrepreneurship is the ability to be able to create, add, or extract value with the intention to meet needs of profitability. So in any part or any journey of entrepreneurship that is not adding, creating, or extracting values that is needed within a given geographical location, there is always possibility that both natural and government policies can be able to hinder the progress and the success rate of any establishment as a business. So what we have been able to do, aside the government policies that are in place that have tried to overtax and putting measures in order to tax businesses all across Nigeria in a way that is not supposed to do. So what we've been able to do is to be able to see how we can be able to leverage on the importance and the solution that technology have been able to provide for us as a growing economy. As we speak now, let's say roughly about 70% of Nigerians have access to the internet. Now, this has created a huge market for us to be able to scale our businesses without having to erect structures, renting office spaces across the 36 states of Nigeria. But remotely, we have been able to scale our business to still be able to touch lives and businesses across the nook and crannies of Nigeria. That is one of the formulas that we've been able to put in place. And secondly, what we try to do, we try to create a platform whereby, for instance, what we are doing in Korea Hub Technology Solutions, what we're currently doing in making sure that our stakeholders have access to the right solutions and services on the go. We are not the logistics guys. We don't, just like I said initially about the Uber platform, Uber is one of the most used cab platform in the world, but Uber does not own any cab anywhere across the world, any market they operate. What they do is to provide their technology and give those that have the logistics the opportunity to come on board and execute their business strategy and solutions. So which is exactly also what we're doing, giving a platform whereby small-scale businesses, those that owns the infrastructure, those that own the licenses to run logistics businesses to come on board and be able to meet those end users who are already on the platform waiting for them to be able to meet their demands. That's another strategy we're doing. And basically, as a business, it has not been easy because, for instance, few months ago, the government had to ban Twitter in Nigeria, which was a very big blow. A lot of businesses like us and so many others have also lost a huge customer base and not being able to reach the wider market. So these are some of the challenges which we are facing, but technology has made it very, very possible and easier for us to be able to scale our business despite the challenges that we are faced with. So I think I've been able to give some few insights. Thank you.
I still would want to just ask as well to say, since you have a model that works in terms of running your business, would you be able to scale to other countries? Since this model works, if there is a necessary and conducive environment, economically, right government policies in place, would you be able to replicate the same model to other countries? And number two, would you be able also to kind of like offer support to other upcoming entrepreneurs in that space, the courier space as well, so that they can also grow, and not necessarily in Nigeria, but also in other countries like African countries?
Yeah, thank you very much. Sorry, I missed that part. Yes, I'm scheduled to be in South Africa by next 2 months. And one of the reasons why I'm coming to South Africa is to also to take a look at how the business works in over there. I think I will be able to have a time also to probably hook up with you one-on-one so that we can be able to have some insightful business discussion. Yes, we are planning this part of our business model to be able to expand to other African countries in 24 months from now. Some of those countries we are looking at for is Ghana, South Africa, and Rwanda for now. So we are trying to understudy the markets of these countries and know how they operate. So from November, we intend to start paying a visit to these markets and to know how we can be able to bring in our businesses into this space. And sure, of course, we are open to collaborate, to partner, and also to offer our support to any indigenous entrepreneurs on ground that has the will and the interest to be able to replicate same business models that we're currently running in Nigeria, in other African countries.
Thank you, Stanley. Thank you so much. It's a very comprehensive answer. I think you can only decide on some countries once you've spied the land. Yes. So I'll pose the same questions to Mallvine. Mallvine, what's your take on geography? I heard you loudly, and I know from experience, Zimbabwe is a tough environment. I've done training programs in Zim, and half the time I'd be so stressed. I hear you from a place of experience, but have you seen yourself scaling beyond Zimbabwe, number one? Number two, are there any things that you can propose that you feel could also make the journey better? Remember, as entrepreneurs, we are continuously proposing solutions. We are more solution-driven than problem-driven. And number three, the issues of sustainability. What's your take on those questions? Thank you.
Thank you so much. So yeah, here in Zimbabwe, it's a bit tough, but it also requires you to be up on your feet and constantly having market intelligence and also understanding what the changes that are happening and getting to see your trajectory and how you can map up the future and the next couple of days. You might have a solid plan, but as things are just changing, you can also then change your thinking, change your way of doing things, just to adjust as per situation and as per the environment. So it's not easy, but it's very doable. Once you're in the system you can get to, work around the system, and there are always loopholes. It's something that you can always win and, have your business run and have the community that you're working with online advantage, and something that you can take advantage of and just make sure that business still runs, because at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, business has to run. We might play a blame game, but at the end of the day, business, it has to run. And some of the things that we also just have to, consider as we're running businesses is also to think ahead and be relevant. Because if you do not get to be relevant in such moments like this, especially these days with the whole COVID pandemic, everyone is suffering out of it. But if you're not relevant as a business, you will also struggle and you will be limping instead of running. And at the end of the day, you struggle because you are not being relevant. So it's also an issue of being relevant. As much as you are adding value, but you need to be relevant. What was your last question? Sorry.
The issue of sustainability is what you are doing sustainable. Are you able to pay yourself? Are you able to pay people that work with you? Because after a period of time, with social entrepreneurship, you kind of, if you don't compensate yourself, you get bent out. So how are you sustaining yourself and your initiatives?
So I've recently learned to work more on partnerships, investing in people and linkages, building bridges, because it's a tough environment. As an entrepreneur, it's a tough environment. I don't want to lie, it's a tough environment. But when you have linkages and partners and people that you can work with that are reliable, it lessens the burden. It can help you to sustain even for a longer period. I mean, I remember the first time we had the first lockdown here in Zimbabwe. It was hard to do business, but I was getting to work with the people that I am close with, the customers that keep on coming back, and those are the only people that I had to work with whilst we were devising another plan to to get more clients and get more people and to get returns. So it was not easy, but we had to make it work. So sustainability works when you have partners, people that you work with, when you've built bridges and linkages that you build for long term, and obviously get returns and put value in it. So yeah, I've been learning more about sustainability this past few lockdown seasons.
Thank you so much. So I guess I think Isabel has given 2 comments. I'll have to mute you. Isabel has given 2 comments. She's saying that it's interesting being relevant against adding value. She also alludes to the fact that she said, thank you. You have noticed being networked or partners, bridges, and links. I guess it speaks largely to capacity, to relationships as well, and the relevance part. What you have to do, you also have to be good at it. And I guess it draws us back to the issue of mastery, that we have to master what we are doing and make sure that we deliver at the right level. We are saying the right things. We are unique. We have a competitive advantage as entrepreneurs. So I will ask my next question over to you, Stanley. How do you define success? What would you say is success? We have had different responses from different people. How would you define success?
Okay, thank you very much, Precious. Thank you, Melvin, for that insightful feedback on how you are doing over there. Success to me, in my own understanding, success is not math, it's not mathematics. It has no unique or specific definition on how to go about being successful in whatever aspiration or career path or business one is into. I just have about 6 points on how I define success in my own understanding. One, you need to identify a solution that you can provide in an environment. Success is all about your ability to be relevant in what you are doing while adding value. and making sure that you remain in business. That is my simple definition of success. Being relevant while adding value and making sure you remain afloat in business as an entrepreneur. And how can one be able to be relevant in adding value? One, you must identify a need that constantly needs solution. You must be able to identify in your field or sector a gap that needs to be closed, that such solution will always be in demand. That is the only way one can be able to be successful in his or her entrepreneurial part. Two, it is also important that one gains clearer understanding of the sector or the field or area of interest. Just like what you said, Precious, it is very, very important for one to gain clarity in that area of interest. Number three, the consistency. You must be able to follow through the process, because there will always be a shortfalls in most of the plans or the executions you've put in place. So the ability for you to remain relevant, you must be consistent in doing what you know how to do until you start getting the right results out of it. Four, you must be sure that you have the right people in your team, people that have the same mindset, that will come a growth mindset. You must be able to make sure that you have people that have the mindset, those who can be able to stand at the same point where you are and be able to see the bigger picture ahead. So the team, the people, those you call your co-founders, your team members, is very, very important to be people that share the same vision and aspiration with you. Number five, as an entrepreneur, to be successful, you must be able to understand that you should be able to rise up after each fall. There will be government policies, there will be natural disaster or occurrence. There will be a time where you need to get loan. There will be a time that an investor may pull out, or there will be a time that your best hands or your best team member will want to go solo. So you must be able to understand that for you to remain relevant, no matter this challenge, how many times you fall, you rise at least 10 times for every 9 times you have a fall. And lastly, you must learn from those who are ahead of you. You must be able to learn from the playbook of others who has been in the ocean you are trying to step into, and be able to know how they're able to scale their businesses. Like here in Nigeria, we look up to the likes of Tony Elumelu, the owner of Hair's conglomerates. We look up to the likes of Gwenga, Flutter Waves founder, with so many other guys who have been able to achieve great success in the path that we're trailing. So with all this put together, this is my own clear definition of what success is. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's very insightful. There's a question I have already lined up for you. Thank you so much for sharing all this. I think they are really key attributes for entrepreneurial growth. Thank you, Stanley. Marvin, how would you describe your own journey of success? How would you define success in your own terms?
It's a very interesting lineup that you've just given us, Stanley. Thank you so much. And I agree with in fact, most of them that you spoke about. But I want to talk about value. When you understand the value that you're bringing to the table and what you have, that will become your competitive advantage. You might be in the same business with a lot of people, but when you understand the value that you have, you're on a different and ahead. I also want to talk about being relevant, like what Stanley has already said, so I will not dive into it. And I also want to talk about something that I'm still learning, and I'll continue to learn, is to observe at the gates of every market. Like if you understand your trade that you are in, there are certain gates there are certain people that have been doing it from way back, and there are gates that are there in every market. So if you're able to observe on the market gates, be able to understand or even to have a trajectory of the next 5 months, a year, or 2 years, or even a cycle, you can even understand it out of the market gates, out of making synergies with people who have already done it before, like getting mentored by other people. So for me, success is knowing your value, knowing your competitive advantage, and understanding the market gates. Because every business has a gate, and every business has value addition. So the question is, know your value proposition. Thank you so much.
I think that's very key, because sometimes we are not able to define what it is really that we are doing. We can't package it, we can't price it. We don't even know who our customers are. We have not spent time. I think, speaking back to what Stanley mentioned earlier, the issue of needs, are we even having time to do like needs analysis effectively for us to not to waste our time, not to waste our efforts and things like that. So thank you so much, gentlemen. I have some few questions I jotted down while you were speaking. And I think my also contribution towards this is that, you know, the one of the most critical things that a person can do is to prepare for that opportune time. You know, there's nothing as disheartening when an opportunity arises and you are not ready for it, you are not prepared for it, and you have not had an opportunity for a very long time. It's much easier when you present yourself ready, prepared in every sense when opportunity knocks, because half the time we are looking for opportunities. And as we wait for those opportunities to come through, we should also invest in just preparing ourselves. One of my mentors always used to say that God never he always makes use of prepared vessels. If you prepare yourself when the opportunity comes, God makes use of you one way or the other. So Roy made a comment here. He said you need to stay relevant in today's environment. It is a strategy that most businesses are adopting. What practical steps should an entrepreneur who just started his business do to ensure that they remain relevant to the business? I think it was also a question. Then also you mentioned that, thank you, Stanley, for giving us insights to becoming success as an entrepreneur. Would you like to find out what's your new view on failure and how can one use it to rise and grow their businesses? I think I'll add to that question, Roy, because I think that was one of my questions I had written down here. The issue of failing, we all fail, but are there lessons in failing? You know, sometimes when they fail once, people fail once, they don't want to rise up again. What are the lessons in failure? And what message would you share with someone that you are actually, you can do it, you can pick yourself up again, you can try again. There's always this saying that says that people, you need to fail forward. You know, once you've failed, it doesn't mean that's the end of you, but keep failing forward. So what are some of the lessons, Stanley, around failing?
Okay, thank you very much, Precious. All right, thank you for that brilliant questions. It has been my culture to always try to share more insights on the principle of failing. Naturally in life, everybody cannot be successful at the same time. And the reason why nature tries to, when you look at the pyramid of success, the higher you go, the narrower the path to the top. So meaning at the bottom, there's a whole lot of crowd at the bottom. So, but quite few number of people climbs to the top of the pyramid. Now, why is it so? I think I'm a staunch believer of business philosophy, and what business philosophy will teach you is that everybody cannot get to the top at the same time. Everybody cannot be successful. So what nature does is to create enough barriers, enough failing, enough obstacles and challenges that can be able to hinder or discourage a lot of persons to not want to meet their expectation or their aspiration in life. So when people try to get to the top, they fail 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 times, they give up on themselves. Naturally, that helps to balance the equilibrium balance of the world, because everybody cannot get to the top at a time. But those that stick to their core, those that sticks and look at the challenges into the failure and said, I know that I can be able to conquer you. Just like the first man that conquered Mount Everest. I've forgotten the young man's name. I can't really remember his name, but at some point he tried 1 or 2 times, he failed. On one of the occasions, why he was being asked by the press, does he think he can still want to try the 3rd time on Mount Everest? And the man said yes. And he was like, the press guy asked him why. He said, the reason being that Mount Everest cannot expand beyond the way it is, but I have the capacity to grow, to conquer it. So failure is a critical learning part for every entrepreneur and individual. And if you don't have that mindset, that consciousness to be able to identify the lessons that is embedded in the failures or the errors you've committed, you will give up on yourselves even when you are closer to your breakthrough. So failure is a learning part. And for every successful entrepreneur all over the world has failed more than they've succeeded. But just like, the iceberg model, business model thing, when you look at, you only see 10% of the iceberg above the water, while the remaining 90% is below, is right inside the water. Why is it so? We deliver 10% by the time we give 90% of our effort and our audacity. So basically, that's my understanding of how failure should be handled, because it is a very vital ingredient that sharpens our skills. Because by the time you get to the top, it is more challenging to remain at the top. And if you don't get enough heat while getting to the top, you crash down quicker than you expect.
So in other words, there is a working of your character when you keep failing. There's a place of humility, training, and all those things. That it's so true. It's so true. You look back and you're like, if I had arrived sooner, I wouldn't be the person I am today. So there are enough lessons that are growing our capacity as we grow. Very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing that. Marvin, what's your contribution on failure? And I think one other thing that I would want to add as well is just the issue of us learning to forgive ourselves when we fail. Sometimes we are too hard on ourselves when we fail, like that's the end of the world. It's not. You can still try again. Forgive yourself for failing, forgive yourself, and still pick up your mat and rise again. Marvin, over to you.
You took the words right out of my mouth. And you're on point. But I just want to add on, whether we are prepared or not, whether we want or not, whether we are thinking of it or not, we are going to fail. But it takes a person with a character, a strong character, to say, you know what, I failed. Let me then do an audit where I failed, how I failed. Did I do less? Did I not invest well? And, you get to check where you're standing. Because a lot of us, we want to get there. But are we willing to go through the hassles and the tussles of failing and falling down and, being pinched and all that? So when you fail, it's a time for you to sit down and reflect and say, did this work? What do I need to improve on? And also, like what you were talking of, it's a character building. It's a moment where you also realize your value. Maybe you just need to increase your value, just like anything that's being sold on the market, your market value. So if you just shoot like that, you might not even realize it. So failure is also a humbling tool that, I think God uses in a way to just put us back in our position. Because sometimes we get carried away, and when success happens, you forget a lot of things. You even forget your own parents. But when you fail, you remember that you have parents and you look after them. So failure will happen. But we need to be that resilient, to have that bounce back factor. After you fail, do your market research, be like an intelligence officer. Check where you missed it. Check where you dropped the ball. Who do you need to rope in to help you? What do you need to invest in so that you can, go get it? But nevertheless, failure will happen. But are you prepared to learn the lessons? Some of the things are not just easy when you fail. It reflects back on your character. Most of the times, it's you who did not do your part right. So, for example, you might cut corners, but at the end of the day, it comes back and hits you on your budget. And then you start complaining, yeah, the government policies, this and that, but it's you. So it's a moment when you fail, it's a moment where you need to do self-audit of yourself, your character, your mannerisms, your integrity. And then from there, you can regroup and bounce back. So, yeah.
Wow, thank you so much, gentlemen. It's really an interesting conversation we are having here. I love how God works. He always has a way of directing each session differently. We have the same questions and we have different responses. And I think it just shows how diverse God is. He's not limited to what we think. And, I'm happy to be having this session with you. Thank you so much. So I'm just going to have to get to the last question because we don't have as much time to actually focus on the other two questions. How have you managed diversity so far as an entrepreneur? Sometimes people come with their different views, different opinions over issues. How have you managed to manage all of that and take what is good, run with it, implement it, perfect it? What's the essence even of having people? Because also we are relational beings. We continuously want support from people. And some of the business opportunities we are looking for, they are also lying with people. Sometimes it's just doors that we need to be opened through certain people. And so even if sometimes they can come in a different angle that we have not seen, how have you managed all of that? We have people that help us in our businesses. Sometimes they are coming as partners. Sometimes they are coming as employees. Sometimes they are coming as mentors, as coaches. How have you managed all of that and still remain relevant in what you're doing? So I'll pose that question to both of you, if you can make it snap so that we can have your closing remarks just before 7.
Okay, I think I would like to give an insight on how we've been able to manage the diversity of our stakeholders, team, and business at large. At Career Hub, one of our core principles is our people. We value people more than process. And this has formed part of the principles that have been able to sustain the open doors and breakthroughs we've been recording as a business. It is there, it is embedded in the culture of our business that our people comes first before their position, before their ethnic, political, or religious orientation. So we are building a robust and interesting work-life balance that is sustainable, that is built on people and not on process. So we build our people to be able to deliver on the required goals of the business. And our people is more important to us than any processes and results that we drive. And it is a fundamental culture part of the business, regardless of what needs to be done. So as an entrepreneur, you must have the mindset to work with people that has the right mindset that you need. People that has the interest of the business at heart, regardless of who they are, regardless of their gender, their sexual orientation, their political view, or wherever they belong or wherever they come from. So that gives an inclusive work environment that will help businesses to thrive. So this is how we've been able to be getting it right at our businesses across Nigeria. And we intend to sustain it and make it part of every individual that come across our brand as a company. Thank you.
Thank you, Stanley. So people are important. People are important.
Okay.
Relationships are key. I love that. I think we just need to make it a culture of valuing people that we come across. I think some of the opportunities, they're not even with just the team that we have. It's doors can be opened even with people beyond what we know, who we know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Malvin, would you just want to add to what Stanley has spoken into?
Oh yeah, thanks Stanley for leading the way. And also as the Vine Consultancy, we have a culture. That's it. I'll just say it's just a culture it's a culture of how you do things. For us, it's a culture of communication. It's a culture of having people and maintaining the relationships, building each other. So for us, it's a culture. What we do, transparency, everything, it starts as a culture. So I agree with both of you what you're saying. So the moment that you build a culture, you've built everything. Thank you so much.
Wow, gentlemen, you are amazing. You are amazing. I pray that God continues to bless your works, that you continue to be kings on the marketplace. So I would just want to ask you to release your parting words to encourage someone. We have had to go through a lot. I had a call earlier from one of my friends, and she was telling me, Precious, I've been in a moment of questioning a lot of things. She was sounding very discouraged. What would you say to someone for them to just kind of like just continue pursuing who they think they should be, their passion, their purpose? What would be your parting remarks just to encourage someone to continue doing what they're doing? I'll start with you, Stanley, then Marvin will go last.
Okay. I often try to say these words to a lot of persons that come across. In the middle of every storm, try as much as possible to locate your source of peace. There is always a source of peace in the middle of every storm. You must not focus on the storm. You must not focus on the storm, because the storm is part of You've been to a harbor where the ships are stationed. The waves, the storms are part of the force, the energy that sails ships. So in the middle of every storm, let's try as much as possible to locate our source of peace. There is always somewhere into that will re-energize and ignite your passion. Thank you.
Wow, that's so deep. Earlier I have my friend, I phone every morning to say, come, let's have a boardroom session. So when I feel like I'm about to go crazy, right? I'm frustrated, I phone and I'm like, come, let's have our own personal boardroom. And she was actually speaking into that place of just finding peace in the storm. And I was telling her that, after everything has been said and done, I thank God for the gift to be able to go back and pray and say, God, I feel broken, I feel lost, I feel disappointed, I feel this. And when I'm done with that, I feel like I found my source of peace. That's really my source of peace. And when I pray, I'm fine. If I've not prayed, I'm very anxious. I'm not really productive. So thank you so much for speaking into that. Malvin, would you just want to give us your closing remarks?
One of my movies that I love watching is called War Room. And I always keep repeating that movie because it talks of your secret place. So whenever I'm in a moment of adversity, I go to my secret place. That's where I do all my battles. So I encourage you guys to also have your place where you fight your wars. It might be physical, it might be spiritual, but it's important to have your own space, your own training ground where you sort out things. And I also want to talk of being consistent. No matter how bad things or how hard it is, continue being consistent. And also work on your trade day and night. Work on your trade day and night. Thank you so much, Precious. Stanley, you are the man.
Thank you,
Oh,
Melvin.
gentlemen.
I will hook up with you after now.
Definitely, definitely.
Thank you.
It has been an honor to host the both of you. I have had so much to learn. Thank you so much for taking time. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your expertise, your experience. We are humbled as vessels of virtue. We are really passionate about, empowering leaders, entrepreneurs, and social entrepreneurs. It's really at the core of my heart, because I feel like sometimes if people don't have a support system, you can really be stuck. I'm really grateful that you made time to be with us today, and I hope we can do so much more together. We can collaborate and synergize wherever necessary, wherever possible. And to the people that took time to join us on Zoom, it wouldn't really be a masterclass without you. To the people that watched on Facebook, we are so grateful for your support. May God continue to bless you. To those that are still going to watch on YouTube, we are excited. We are grateful. Thank you for your support. Would love to release you now. We'll join you again on Friday for another session of a powerful masterclass. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your wisdom. Thank you so much for your support. God bless you. Enjoy your evening. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. Cheers.